So it's that time of the year where I want to get the rototiller going to plant in my garden. And I had a couple issues here. The first one is with the starter. My starter here broke. You can see it's made out of plastic. The teeth, when you pull the wheel, they're supposed to be spring-loaded and pull out and engage. But they inside this hub here, but they broke off, and so I don't have a way of starting it, or I thought I did anyway, but then I improvised. I just figured I could just get a piece of rope here. There's already some notches, so I could just stick it in there and wrap the rope around there a few times and make sure I pull it tight. And this works. It's you got to watch what you're doing, but you can start the engine like that. I just got a piece of wood and some parachute cord here. And so I was able to start the engine, but then I realized I had a problem with the carburetor. And so I've removed the carburetor, and now I'm working on that. So I've got the carburetor removed from the rototiller. And the problem I was noticing is the float's sticking. And it's because of, there's some rust here. And right now I'm working to free the pin. I think this pin has gotten corroded all through here. You can even see it's pretty bad right there. And so I'm going to try to remove this pin and clean that up and get it to work. It should be free, but it's just leaking fuel out everywhere. So I think I can fix that, but I've got to put it in this vise here and try to drive that pin out without damaging the carburetor. So I'm going to put the carburetor in the vise here where I can work on it. Hopefully this vise will open up enough for this carburetor to go in there. Just barely does. Okay, that's fine. So now I've got the carburetor in a vise. I can I'm going to tap on this pin here. I'm going to tap it back and forth. We've got the carburetor on this vise here. I'm going to try and gently persuade this pin to come out. Got a very small hammer and some fine little punches here. I'm just going to try to tap it one way or the other and see which way the pin might want to move first. Yeah, it went that way pretty easily. So I'm going to continue on. Switch to a smaller punch. Maybe I can get one that goes right through. I can see the pin coming out on this side. And I believe it's almost, I could probably pull it by hand. Here we go. So now there's the float and the needle. It's got a little corrosion on that. I think I can probably clean that up. That part looks pretty clean. It's just this pin here. So what I'm going to do next is try to clean up these surfaces and clean this out. There's some corrosion inside of there. And this should be a freely moving assembly. So I'm going to get some fine sandpaper and see if I can clean this little pin up. So what I've decided to do, instead of trying to clean up that pin that's rusty and corroded, I found some spring pins. I got a kit of spring pins here, and I found a pack here that's a nice loose, it's a loose fit in there, and it's exactly the same length as the other pin that came out. And so I'm gonna try it and see if it's gonna work. I think it's okay if it's a little loose. And that way, this one's stainless steel, so I won't have the problem with the corrosion, you see, and it does seems to fit in there pretty nicely. And then I just have to get that to fit on there. See if it's going to work. It may not work. I might have to clean up the other part. We'll see. I think that'll be fine. I'll save this little piece just in case it isn't. But I think it's the same length, so they were using the gasket to hold it in place. So all I need to do is douse that off with some carburetor cleaner. Make sure the holes are cleared. And I believe that thing might just work. I got a little carb cleaner. Gonna get some of that nasty stuff off of there. And I might be able to rototill today. It appears to be working. I just have to assemble the carburetor. I'm just going to set that to dry just for a little bit. So I want to show you the screws in the carburetor. I don't know what kind of metal that is, but it's stripped the heads. So I'm going to use these screws instead. They're 1032. I don't have anything that length, but I can just cut them with this cutter here. Just to, you know, approximate the distance there. About like that. And I need a screwdriver to get that back out of there. So I got a screwdriver to, because you actually are forming the threads when you remove it. So it takes a little bit of force to have that happen. So I'm just measuring, it's from this surface here to the back of the screw is what I'm looking to get, just approximately. Something like that. So you close it that way and then you open it fully, and that kind of wipes the entire thread surface. And then you can just back it out. You can feel the threads kind of forming as you back it out. So there, I got the two screws made there to replace the ones with these stripped heads. So go ahead and one thing I want to do is put this gasket on. This gasket here is what keeps that float pin retained. Keeps it from slipping out one way or the other. I'm going to put that back on there. And I can see where it was right there. If I had another one, I would use it, but I don't have another one. So there we go. That's then I can just go ahead and put the bowl on it here. And then we'll just be assembling it here. So this piece went on there. I'm going to add that part later because it's a lot easier to get to the connections. Just want to make sure these screws go in there properly. They don't feel like they're very happy about going in there. And there it goes. I think there was a little corrosion. I want to go ahead and just run those in, make sure they're going to go. They're brass, so they won't corrode like the steel ones did. That one's got to get straightened up a little. There it goes. Somehow it appears that water has gotten into the fuel, and actually the air filter was wet too, so I had it covered up, but I think something must have allowed it to get in there. I think we're okay now. We're going to go ahead and try this. Alright, I've got the carburetor back in, drained the fuel, put in some new fuel. I'm going to try to improvise. Starting with this rope here.